What's up, guys? It's Richard with the Rich Perspectives podcast. It is 2018, only day number 2, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. I am sitting in my parents' basement, and I hope you cannot hear my children upstairs running around like some wild banshees. I could not make it to the studio in Columbia today, so we're here. This is the most quietest place that I could find, so we in here. Tonight, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of insight on myself, my history, a little bit of my bio, and to shed some light on what the podcast will be about over the course of the next 12 months. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you guys, and thank you all for tuning in. This is me, raw and in living color. I'm good and ashy, as you can see. Been working hard today, but we in here nonetheless. So, just a little bit about myself. My name is Richard Adams II. I am a husband, a father, a barber, speaker, life coach, and entrepreneur. That is what I do. I wear many, many hats, and I absolutely enjoy every bit of it. I'm 34 years old, and I just so happen to be the youngest and the only male child of my siblings. One interesting fact about myself is I have been fired from every job I ever had. All of them. I've done everything from push carts at a grocery store to teaching at a college, and they have all fired me with pleasure. And I was forced to forge my own path. Um, Another interesting fact about myself is with me being the youngest and the only male child, my siblings are all in the medical field. So I had this pressure on me to essentially do what they did, or at least, strive to be on the same level or tangent as they are. Of course, some felt like I should be better, because I'm the only boy, But that was not what I wanted to do. When I graduated high school, I actually had no clue what I was going to do with my life. I looked into actually going to Job Corps, believe it or not. I don't know if anybody has ever graduated high school and then turned around and went to Job Corps. But that's what I'm looking at doing, because I did not know what I wanted to do with myself. I did not know what I could do. The only thing that I knew is that I did not want to go to college. And that was not an option for my parents. My dad in particular, he was very hell bent on me going to college, getting the degree. And the irony of that is my dad was an entrepreneur. He owned his own car lot, and he had been selling cars for quite some time. But long story short, I ended up going to college. I did about a year and a half to 2 years, and I actually did okay while I was in college. I got to the point to where I was getting ready to enter the radiology program over at the University Hospital here in Augusta, Georgia, and you have to go through the whole application process, the interview, the testing, and all those things. So before they let you into the program, you have to go on an actual tour of the radiology emergency room. Excuse me. And it's real life actual events, like sick people, ailing individuals coming in, getting care, medical care. So it's like real life. And so as they're walking us through, we're going on the tour, and I'm sitting back and I'm just like, wow. I'm looking at all of the tools and implements, and the x-ray machines, and they wheeled this one gentleman through on the gurney, and I'm like, whoa, I don't want anything to touch me. Took us through, and one lady was getting a spinal tap, and I was just like, wow, okay, this is pretty deep. But it was at that moment that I realized that I lacked the compassion needed to serve in the medical profession, because that's what it is. It's a service, and I'm a people person, yes, but the compassion needed to fulfill what's needed to be done for ailing individuals, I didn't have that. And so it was at that moment that I said, okay, this I am not going to do. I came home and I told my mother, I said, Mom, I'm done. I'm not going back. I don't want to go back. I hate it. I hate every minute of it. I didn't want to go in the first place. So she said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to cut hair. I said, Mom, I'm good at it. I have been cutting hair since I was 12 years old. At this time, I'm 19. I've been cutting hair since I was 12 years old. And I'm pretty good. I really believe that I could do something with that, and I can make room for myself in this world doing that. And so immediately she gave me a blessing. I support you 100%. As long as you staying out of trouble, you're not in and out of jail, not making a whole lot of babies, you got my support. So I had mama like, yes, okay, I'm good, I got it. She said, but you gotta get past your daddy. So I'm like, wow, okay. So I drove over to my dad's car lot, and hey dad, I need to talk to you. So he put me in the office and we sit down and we talk. And immediately he's like, no, you're staying in school, you're not quitting, you're gonna finish, you're gonna get the degree, and you're going to go to work. And I'm like, well, dad, that's not what I want to do. It wasn't up for discussion, he didn't want to hear it. So I left. Came back home, still had mama's blessing. Dad wasn't trying to hear it, but I had already made up in my mind that I was not going to return to school the next semester. So what I did was I came up with a plan. And I knew I had to find a way that I could convince my daddy that barbering was good. Barbering was going to work for me. But I knew that I had a strong feat trying to convince him of that. So one day my stepdad came home from the barbershop. And he came and he said, hey, they're looking for somebody at the barbershop to train to cut hair and get their license. I'm like, wow, like this is my opportunity. And so I'm like, so what I got to do? He said, well, go down, talk to Mr. Moody. He said, come down there and talk to him, and he get the paperwork and everything get started. I went down there immediately. We got the paperwork. I filled everything, applied, got the TB shot, my transcript, high school diploma, all that good stuff. And we was on our way to Columbia. Got it done. So I came back, went to see my dad again. Hey, Dad, check this out. So I got a plan. I can get my barber's license now without having to go to school. I found a way that I can apprentice in a barbershop. That way I can make money now and I can get out of your pockets. You know what he said? You got yourself a deal, son. He supported me from that moment forward. I showed the initiative and I showed him that I was serious about what I wanted to do, and I got his blessing. Now, probably was more so the fact that I was going to get out of his pockets. But at any rate, I got his blessing. So that's what I did. I became a barber. I forged my path in this world through barbering and entrepreneurship. Every single job that I've ever had, I've been fired from. So at 19 years old, I got in the barbershop, started my apprenticeship. It took me about a year and a half to complete that. Once I finished, I got my license on the first attempt. The day that I went to the barber board, I actually was the last one to get started, first one to get finished, and I passed with the highest score of the day. But got my barber's license, and I stayed at that shop for 6.5 years. After that in the midst of that 6.5 years, I started cutting hair at the Aiken County Detention Center, and it was a wonderful opportunity and experience. I learned a whole lot. And it also helped me kind of fill in the gap until I built my clientele to where I needed it to be. Little did I know, while I was running that program at the detention center, someone was watching me. And this individual was teaching over at a local college here in the area, and they ended up being promoted on their job. In order for them to take their position, they needed someone to fill their old position, and he contacted me. I was not interested at all, not remotely interested. And for about 7 months, he courted me, trying to get me to at least apply for the job. And I wouldn't do it because I wasn't interested. By this time, I'm 23 years old. I'm like, no, I'm loving standing behind the chair. I finally built my clientele to where I wanted to be at, and I'm doing great. I want to stay behind the chair. He's like, it's so much more beyond this chair. Just come from out behind the chair. Come step in the classroom. I'm like, no, I'm not interested. So one day, he pulls up at the barbershop. And he comes out. He has his briefcase and he has an application. He said, here, fill this out. So I filled out the application. And he's like, at least you got to get somebody on the docket with an application. Put out the application, turned it in. Next thing I know, he's back another week or so later. Hey, can you come in and just do an interview? I just need you to do an interview. I'm like, man, I told you I don't want this job. I don't want to teach. I enjoy barbering, standing behind a chair. I just need somebody to come in, just at least apply for the job. So interview for the job. So I did, went and interviewed for the job, and they hired me on the spot. I'm like, whoa. I didn't come here for that. That's not what I. And so the dean of the college at the time, she's like, well, we need you, and you're hired. We're gonna pay you $17 an hour. I'm looking like, hmm. By this time, I left this piece out. By this time, I'm married with the kid and another kid on the way. So I'm like, $17 an hour. That might be pretty good. So I went ahead and I took the opportunity and I took the job and I started teaching there. I taught there for 3.5 years until, of course, you guessed it, I was fired. So I left there and I opened my first barbershop at 25 years old. And I opened my shop while I was still teaching at the college, actually. And one of the things that I realized after opening my barbershop, because I was in there by myself, I didn't have anybody renting a booth, was that I was leaving my shop, closing it down to go and work for someone else, an institution that didn't need, me in order for them to function, and only paid me what they felt I was worth. And, I had the epiphany like, okay, this might not really make sense, but I still didn't take the initiative to leave myself. I had to be ousted out, fired. So once I left that, I just did barbering full time, and I just really started pushing my vision. I would go to Walmart every day after I got out of that shop. And this is the beauty. When I opened my first barber shop, I was 25 years old, one of the youngest here to ever do so at the age of 25 years old. I opened my barber shop, and every day when I would get off, I would go to Walmart and I would just walk up and down every aisle, back and forth, and pass out cards, introducing myself. Hey, my name is Richard. Everybody call me Rich. Call me Richard Short. I just opened up a barber shop right off of Buena Vista Avenue in North Augusta. Hats Off Grooming Lounge. Come by and see me sometime. You know what those people did? They came by and they saw me sometime. And the beauty of it is, all I had to do was get you in my chair one time. I made it my business to ensure that you will be back. So I made certain that I was giving out great service and building a great rapport with the community and the clients and the customers coming into the barbershop. And it began to go really well. However, ironically, I started to miss being behind the desk. I started to miss teaching. And so I took a couple of apprentices in my barbershop and I attempted to train them up under me. It was virtually impossible to do so. I could not impart into those individuals what they needed and service my clientele at the same time because I had a rather large clientele by this point. So I decided to open a barber school. And it took me 4 years to do so. I heard no a whole lot. Starting with individuals who I considered to be friends, peers of mine who I just knew, they would be interested and they'd be willing to come in and help me, open this barber school. Hey, let's be partners. Let's join forces. Let's do this. When I think about working at the college and I look at the program and the department that's run by us, it's head by us, and they're only paying us what they feel that we're worth. And even though $17 an hour was, I thought was a good thing to me, how much money are they making off of me? So I'm like, okay, wow, I should really do this. And so that's what I did. I opened Provision Barber Academy in North Augusta, South Carolina in the fall of 2014. It was Aiken County's first barbershop ever. I was 30 years old. A young black man accomplishing something like that on his own. I thank God for my family and my true and close and sincere friends who helped me, who shared knowledge, insight, who connected me with individuals, made phone calls, wrote checks. Thank you, Jesus. It was an absolute blessing to have that type of support system in place. My mother, she's one of my hugest, she is the hugest support. She is a support system all within herself. You guys probably watching this, I'm certain you probably don't know my mother, but anybody who knows her will attest to that fact. But fall 2014, Provision Barber Academy opened, and it was a beautiful day. The interesting thing about that, when I opened that school, I had two interest meetings, and they both were, rather, it did okay. And when the date finally came, no one signed up. I had no students. And so I'm sitting there like, okay, what do I do? I got up, I got dressed. And I didn't just get dressed, I got dressed. I put on a suit, nice shirt, slacks, tie, bow tie at that. And I went to the academy. The academy where I paid the $900 deposit down to get the building. Once I secured that building with those $900, that was the last $900 that I had, and did not know how I was going to pay the next month's lease. But I secured the facility. First day of class for orientation, that is. I'm there, and I'm setting things up like I have a wealth of students coming in. And I just did it anyway. Did not know if anybody was going to show up. My parents came. My sister came. Both my sisters came. And everybody was just sitting there looking like, they're all excited. I'm sort of like, oh my God, like, I really want them to leave. Because I don't have anybody coming through here, And sure enough, one car rolled up. Another car rolled up. Another car rolled up. And another car rolled up. And before I knew it, I had 4 students. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And when I signed those students up and we began orientation, I was so proud. Number one, because the type of individuals that were coming in. When I started the academy, I opened it up for individuals who could not get a job otherwise, been because their job history or they may have a criminal record or something like that. But I was so happy to be able to help these individuals turn over a new leaf and start anew. And it worked. And there I was, Richard Adams, 30 years old, owner and operator, lead facilitator of Provision Barber Academy in North Augusta, South Carolina. Aiken County's first barber school ever. There can only be one first. But so I did it. And it was just another part of my story. So here I am today. Summer 2015, I actually got my certification in life coaching and motivational speaking. Something that I always kind of toyed with the idea of. But standing behind the chair, those of you who frequent the barbershop, you already know the type of atmosphere. You know how we get down in the shop. And I mean, it's essentially what we do every day, talking to people, just dialoguing back and forth, going over situations, scenarios, circumstances, and it worked. So I went the extra mile and got my certification. Once I became certified, had a slew of opportunities and invitations being extended to me, and I started to grow and I learned to cultivate the gift and hone the craft and make certain that I submitted myself under the right people to help me grow and educate myself when it comes to the speaking arena. So here we are today, the Rich Perspectives podcast. This podcast is going to share a wealth of knowledge and information regarding entrepreneurship, leadership, most important, mind renewal. Mind renewal. There would be no me. Definitely would not be here today if I did not renew this mind, transforming your mind. It's a task, it's a work, but it's a work that can and that shall be done. Mind renewal. We talk about finances, we talk about literacy in finances, empowerment, liberation from debt, knowledge of self, accountability. I have accountability systems that I have in place for my coaching sessions. We'll be sharing some of those here on the podcast. Personal growth and development, all of those things, something as simple as, hey, I'm in the 11th grade and I think I want to live in Dallas, Texas by the time, I graduate college or whatever. We'll come up with a plan from today to get you to that day when you want to be in Dallas, Texas. That's a part of our accountability systems that we have here at Rich Perspectives online.com. But that's what we'll be doing here today. So the way the podcast will go is pretty much we'll do an intro every day, and it's basically like a welcome. We'll talk to you about the subject, the topic of today, and I'll tell you guys a little bit about why I chose that subject, what it means to me. Then we'll jump right into it. We'll dive into the meat of the thing, go into detail, and we'll break it down, whatever the subject is for that day. We'll talk about it, and then at the end, of course, we'll close. There'll always be some type of challenge, an initiative, or we'll just end it with the rich perspectives at the end. But at the end of the day, this is the Rich Perspectives podcast, and I am so happy to be here with you guys today. 2018, infinity and beyond. Change your mind, change your life. It's all in how you see it. You can have anything you want. You really can have it all, just not at the same time. This is the Rich Perspectives podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. 2018, we out.